Hey everyone, I'm David Whalen. Welcome to episode 2 of Raising Men. I'm here with a good friend and a mentor in the fitness industry, Jonni SHREVE, and I've asked him to be a guest on the show and share his story and sort of his experience and add. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Jonni in. Again, thank you guys for coming on board and listening in, and hopefully we can provide some perspective and some help. So thank you, Jonni.
What's up?
What's up, man?
I'm
How
good.
are
I'm
you?
good. How are you?
I'm all right. You having a good day?
I'm good. Yeah, I was busy. I just got back from filming. I film 3 times a week, and then and I got some extra stuff to do. So this is part of the day. So
Nice.
I'm good.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on board. This is episode 2. I'm a lot less experienced at this stuff than you, so bear with me. But I appreciate you coming on and
Cool.
being a part of it. So thank you very much.
It's good. I'm humbled. Let's go.
So as I sort of mentioned to you previously, what I am hoping to accomplish out of the show, the podcast Raising Men, is really to provide perspective, from friends, from colleagues, from experts, for men, for dads, for people within the active lifestyle. I've had my own personal journey and my own path, and I've noticed that being a dad, being involved in relationships, there's so many challenges that have kind of come about, which have made me a better person, I think, which have made me grow. And, obviously knowing your story and having met you and seeing your growth recently, obviously coming on board with Blue Star, your journey within the fitness industry and sort of how you've transitioned yourself into the new path that you're taking, I definitely feel like it's worth sharing. So Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
I guess for the people that are listening in and watching, could you sort of share, I guess, how you got into this? I know your dad was a big part of it, and sort of maybe share that part of who you are.
Into like all of like my bodybuilding and everything, or
so again, like I mean, obviously you and I have known each
I'll
other
tell
for
you
a
everything.
bit, but like, I mean, in terms
Yeah.
of, I believe, if I'm correct, I believe you're into like college sports, football.
Okay, we're going back. Okay, well,
man, like sort of, no, obviously not like a long conversation, but
long.
but like, how'd you get here, basically?
So I was I said like to the Cole's Notes version, because I have that for sure. So basically I start off, I've been chasing like a dream of being a professional athlete my entire life. So where I'm from, Windsor, Ontario, we have a crazy American influence: football, baseball, basketball, everything's Detroit. So I was I saw and I was around and exposed to a lot of people making it, basically. And so anyway, I was chasing the goal of being a football player, and I kind of blew it in high school. I lost all of my scholarships. Just that's another story I can talk about down the road. And then I chased that dream, tried, and found myself on one side of the country in Whistler, BC, about 15 years ago. And this is like the easy one. So like 15 years ago, because this is actually cool that we're talking this, because this is like everything has been happening within like the 5 and the 15 year, 10 year, then 20. Like it's pretty cool. Anyway, 15 years ago would have been this year. I moved to Nova Scotia from Whistler, BC, in the midst of a drug addiction, of partying, and my life's just like rock bottom, just basically going to trash. I remember there being like this called Ron Dye's football camp, and I was heavily recruited back in the day, so I was like, give my shot. Maybe I get a chance to going and getting a scholarship again. And there's a camp, and I was like, I'm gonna do this camp. It was in December of 2006, and I called a couple coaches. What did the camp? The coaches that I called, one didn't show up. The other guy didn't really know who it was. And the one coach that recognized me was Steve Samara, who was coaching here 15 years ago in Nova Scotia, Halifax, Nova Scotia, St. Mary's University. And he recruited me from like years ago, but I couldn't get in because I was basically lost all my scholarships. So I was like, he's like, want to go for dinner? I'm like, sure, let's go for dinner. And by that time I was already like, I've had it with, I'm like, whatever is going to come, like, let me just get my, let me get my ticket or something and just get my life going. So
Yeah.
we went to dinner and stuff. I'm like, look, if you give me your school, I'll go to your school. And then, lo and behold, I got accepted into the arts program, came here. Great, probably the best time of my life. Like and trust me, the drug addiction was still going. So it really wasn't like like it was a good, it was a good second piece, but
you weren't a great role model yet.
No, not even. Like, I was trying to be. Like I had this like forever like if it wasn't for this like obsession of like I want to be a professional, there's something I want to do in my life. I need something, you know what I mean? And just chasing that, it got me out of it. So I finally, got to after going to university and playing in my last year 10 years ago. I finished, like I got through drug addictions, like counseling and whatnot. And I was at the end of my football career. My last game of the season, I broke my finger. Everyone see my finger almost like this. I broke my finger in my last game. And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I finished my last I finished my degree and my last year of football in 4 years. And I'm like, what am I gonna 5 years, whatever, or 5 years, sorry.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what do I do next? And then the option then 11 years, like 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago was fight UFC, like mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Or what was that was it. I was gonna do that. That was it. Or go to school. Or not go to school, or just like do whatever.
Yeah.
And my brother was like talking me out of it. And then I remember someone telling me about like my brother's an MMA analyst at the time, and he's like, you're not gonna be making money. You're only 198 right now. That means you have to be about like 156 if you're really gonna fight, because I'm only 5'8", right?
Yeah.
And then a couple guys around here were like, you should bodybuild. And I'm like, I'm not bodybuilding. Back in the day, like, there's no way I'm doing that, sitting in a banana hammock stuff. Like, there's no way I'm dieting down. I play football. I'm supposed to, I end up calling these guys like, when's this competition happening? And they're like, it's gonna happen 10 years ago, April. So I was like, okay, I'll do the show. And then I was like, I need to be a professional. I'm like, how can I want to be a pro. This is my other chance. So the second I got into that sport, it was like, I took it as serious as it took football. Like I took because like football was like the one thing that kept me alive. Like if football was that drive for that wasn't there, I'd be done for sure. But then with bodybuilding was like, it was something that would like literally was a great obsession and addiction to help to be honest. To keep me in a place that, nothing would touch that realm for me. So back like 10 years ago, I started this thing, dream chasing, because I was like, listen, look, this is my second chance. Well, it's like more like my 10th chance, but literally this is like, this is it. Like I'm gonna show people that you can blow it and you can come back and like, I heard Joe Rogan like try, be the hero of your own, story, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna show everybody that you can actually make it. I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, and people are gonna watch my transformation, trying this new sport. I'm gonna do this thing as possible. I'm gonna be the best I can be at it. There you go. And no one watched my channel, and I competed though. But like, I just had this thing. I'm gonna show. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna document this. I'm gonna like. You can go back 10 years and see like every little thing I said, and what I was believing, what I was going through, like in time, and documenting it and trying to like educate at the same time, but just didn't realize or understand the business or strategies behind YouTube at all.
Did you find bodybuilding to be an easy transition for you?
It was the easiest. It was symbiotic, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like easily, like it was. If there's anything that, because here's the thing, I started in the gym when I was 11 years old with a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've been coached by somebody since I was 11. That was my introduction into the gym. Like I didn't get to go to the gym like, oh, I'm kind of, no one wants to hang out with me or something or whatever it is. I went there at 11 and then like realized how much it affected me playing football at age 12. So I was like consistently, like I remember getting suspended. Yeah. And I remember getting like, actually like kicked out of school finally. Like it was like I graduated, but I had to go back and upgrade. And then my teacher was like, listen, you're dick around. Just leave, SHREVE. Yeah. And I remember the first place I went was a weight room. And I sat in that weight room for like an hour and trained. And that was the one thing that's been the most consistent in my life was the gym. Like I was training. not really understanding like, what else, like I understood, but like I didn't really know what it was actually doing for me that entire time. So when it came to bodybuilding, it was like, like, hey, guess what? This is football without the football, and you just get to train. And I'm like, whoa, and you get rewarded for this? Yes. And there's an aspect where you get to like, be creative. Cause I'm like, what kept me in high school for my coaches were like, I was an athlete and I played 7 instruments and I was acting and all this other stuff. So I'm this talented kid that just like, just doing stupid shit. Right. So, that was that talent that I've always had was, bodybuilding gave me the ability to like put it kind of on display and kind of be myself in a sense. Like, and I started really developing who I am and understanding who I am 10 years ago, which is so cool because it's like, it's an evolution of like, me just kind of like, okay, like just kind of like getting it and getting it and getting it. And then like, putting the most emphasis on my mental health and like seeing the, immediate positive response and from that, which is so cool. So it was like bodybuilding was like just that thing. Like I know I had my issues through the sport 100%. Like like I went through the eating disorder, bulimia. I went through, I wasn't like I dealt with bulimia through like competition season. So it was like something that I explained and I totally believe in, which is cool. But getting over that was something due to the process of me going through mental health coaching with my therapist. Like, so I had a therapist throughout this time of bodybuilding, which was like, which probably like when I met you, 2014, or a little bit after that. So like around 2016, 17, we really met like, around there. Early before that, I just started going to therapy, like, actively. I remember like, yeah, go ahead.
That's not to interrupt, but that's sort of the purpose of this whole podcast is in terms of like, I feel like I have a similar journey. Taking like I was in hockey and then I transitioned into trying to be a bodybuilder. I didn't have the genetics obviously that you have, and I, always wanted to chase the pro card. But I loved the competitive side of it. I loved the training in the gym. I used to skip chemistry class in university and go to the gym. I would find students in the class that were really great students, and essentially they would give me their notes after class. So it was like a way that I could get through school. But again, the purpose and all these things that you're sharing is awesome, because what I've found through my own personal journey here is that like I don't see a lot of support for men. And I feel like we go through all these challenges of like, you go from being sports to being, whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever those things are, you're trying to be cool because that's the thing. You're trying to chase girls because that's, what we're driven by hormonally, and that makes us certain status. You get into bodybuilding and fitness, and to some level, I don't know that helps. I think it kind of fuels that desire and that ego. But at the end of the day, again, the purpose of having somebody like yourself on here is saying like, I don't feel like there's enough support for men. And having somebody like yourself that's willing to say, hey, like, here's the areas where I could have been better. And here's the tools that I used to sort of help myself succeed. Because obviously I look at you now, and I wouldn't say I've known you forever, but I've been able to watch you grow from being there the day that you won your pro card to who you are today, and watching that process and seeing you become a dad. And I find the fitness industry has completely changed. Like back in the day, I'd walk in the gym and it'd be this monster that was like training hard, and I didn't have to pay the guy. He said, like, you want to be a bodybuilder, come train with me. As long as you listen to what I'm saying, then I'll train you. Now it's become this whole other thing. It's social media, and it just, now they have a show for anybody that needs a different they've got classic physique, and they didn't have all this stuff when I started out, or when you got into it. It was anyway. So my point is that I appreciate you being on, and I love the fact that you're sharing that story, because I think people see this person on YouTube, people see this athlete, people see this successful pro, and they don't see the pieces, the hard times, the difficulties that you've gone through, whether it be challenges with family or challenges raising your daughter, or those types of things. So if you don't mind sharing, so basically fast forwarding now, like what have you realized most about yourself through the past? And what things would you suggest sort of for people that are for men that are trying to find themselves, that are trying to create role models, that are trying to grow, that are trying to face their own demons and fears and challenges? Like, what advice would you give that sort of took you from that young man that was chasing dreams and sort of maybe confused with life to, if I can make that statement, and then to where you are today? What do you suggest?
An easy answer for me, but a very find your value is like the biggest, I think, like is the biggest game changer for anybody, not just men, but anybody. But like, we're talking it for me, because I understand like that whole, I understand like I am a man, and I understand like all the everything that involves the stereotypes and whatever of being a man or whatever it is. It's like value, because like sometimes feel like we take ourselves and be like we're punching bags sometimes. We're more willing to be a punching bag for whatever reason. It could be in your relationship or just at work, or take on the pain, take the whatever it is. And that I find is like an easy way to just not really see who you are and your value, and that find your true value will put you in places where you just raise the level of of everything else around you. When you know your own value, you won't take a certain attitude, or you won't go a certain direction or whatever. Your bar is higher when you know your value. And if you don't have value or don't know your value, like I find that you can have everything in the world but not really have a grip on things, because you just don't know, like, who are you? What do you bring? Are you acting and living at your highest capacity at the best you can? You know what I mean? Like, finding out what your value is, I think, is like one of the biggest things. That was, for me, it was like the biggest thing.
And what helps you get to that? Like, was it therapy, journaling? What tools did you use to sort of,
all like therapy, like I had a life coach, and I was on a pursuit for it. Like when I was going through, just with my life coach, kind of really gave me the spark of like, don't devalue yourself. Like, understand, what you're like. There's thing I learned like in therapy, when looking at like, when you're filtering things, there's like your judgments and there's the facts, right? Judgments are all the things that you say about yourself that aren't true. Facts are the hardcore facts. I'm black. It's facts. I'm 5'8". That's facts. You know what I mean? I'm wearing that's facts. I'm a good father. That's facts. I have a great career. Those are facts, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm fat. That's a judgment. You know what I mean? And it was like so one part of it was like just understanding like, the facts in your life, and then understanding the value of those things. What are the true, honest facts about what you are? And for me, it was finding out like, I remember my life coach is like, I was charging like nothing. Like I was charging like $100, like so foolishly low amount of money. And my attitude was like, oh, the industry's saturated. There's so many people who are coaches, and I can't make any money. And he's like, the industry's saturated. He's like, so everybody has a coach? And I'm like, well, no. He's like, okay, so like, why am I charging more than you? And at that time, he's like, you're a top 5 Arnold Classic competitor. You're a top 2 national competitor. You've won whatever. Why are you charging less than I am? And I'm like, right, I because I devalued myself. And the cold facts were those things. Like, dude, here's the facts, and here's what people look to as like whatever at that time, whatever it is, as good enough for me to give you money. Like I will pay money for this coach who has these credentials, and on top of that, they have this certification and this experience and this, and those are all facts. Okay, cool. So do you measure yourself up to the facts? And if those are facts with somebody else, what is that value to you? You know what I mean? And like, and that's how I had to kind of figure it out. I'm like, oh, so like the more I looked into that, and the more I was like, I'm not gonna. I just wasn't putting up with anything anymore. I was like, I'm not like I'm gonna get paid what I believe that
Yeah.
I deserve to get paid. Period.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know, I know what I'm good at. I know what I bring to the table. I know what value I bring. You know, I operate the highest I can. So when when I interact with anybody, they're gonna get the absolute best version of me, not because I'm trying to be anything else, but because that's what I expect of myself, because that's what I value. So I know that with my business, I know what I bring as value. So I will not accept any less, and I won't accept any less from anyone else. I mean, if you want to do your thing,
Mhm.
but you just won't be around me because I don't want that around me.
Well,
Because you know,
one of the things I found from obviously knowing you and sort of watching that transition, from that winning your pro card when we met to like now, um, at least from my perspective, from what I can see, is that I feel like you've become more real. I feel like when I met you, it was almost like you wanted to be this, or you wanted people to see you for whatever that was. And what I see now, and what I love most about the journey that I've watched, and obviously now that you have a daughter and um, all of that stuff, like I see a more real you. I see
yeah,
like you're more authentic in yourself, and I love
yeah,
that. And it's been cool to watch. um,
yeah,
One of the things that I've noticed for myself, now that I'm a father, I have 3 boys. I've been able to take those life lessons and sort of try, at least stumbling along the way, trying to apply those lessons and be a great dad and help them grow, and and they've even challenged me to be better. Um, Knowing what and the life that you had, and the challenges and moving and drugs and addictions and all those things, like what if you're sitting here talking to your daughter, not to be emotional by any means, but if you're sitting here talking
yeah.
to your daughter, what is it you want her to know? What is it what you would want her to hear from you? um, what advice would you give her for life moving forward?
So it's like, my honest answer is
Mhm.
I don't know, because I'm like doing this thing with her on a day to day.
Yeah.
Like I like when like I know at 16,
Mhm.
I try not to go there
Mhm.
at all. Like, cause like there's like, cause right now, like even the challenges of like right now in my life,
Mhm.
my kid's turning 4, and it's like it's like every day is an upgrade,
Mhm.
of some sort. She's having a more in-depth conversation with me. She's being a lot more aware. I'm like,
Mhm.
what the hell? And I'm watching, because like I'm very aware of these things, like actively, like I am looking for it, like
Yeah.
because I'm as prepared as I can be to be a parent, because
Mhm.
I utilize all the what we have that my parents didn't have. You know what I mean? Like from having, like, we had the baby center and baby whatever it was, and we
Mhm.
could predict what she's gonna do all the way up until the app was no longer useful. But by that time, it was like cheat codes the entire time, right? So I'm fully engaged. Like for me, that answer is like, it's every day something happens when it's a new experience. It's like a very like, with what I know, I have the answer to give as much as I can
Mhm.
for whatever the situation is, but I try not to move past that,
Mhm.
because I don't know what she'll be like at that age to be able to receive that, or whatever it is. Because I like, when it comes to like, I look at all the mistakes my parents made,
Mhm.
all of them,
Mhm.
and they did this the best they could.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The best they could. They're 80, 83, and 79.
Mhm.
So like that's back in the day where there's no cheat codes. The only cheat codes you had was like your mom or dad hitting you upside your head. And I was like, that's your cheat code. Like, hey, I know I keep my kid in line if I, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, now that I, know what I know, I have a really good understanding of how I'll respond to things, but it's gonna happen when it happens. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. This might be not the better answer you wanted to hear, but
No, it's all good, man.
I don't want to think about like, hey, when when some guy breaks her heart. I'm like, oh, kill them.
I find yeah, it's a very real answer. Like obviously, from what I'm understanding, you're saying is just being in the moment, being present.
Yeah.
I'm raising boys, raising 3 white boys. I'm nervous because I feel like the world, the way it is today, I feel like there's all these challenges that I didn't have to face. And it's just, and maybe I faced them, but in a different way. And a lot with social media.
Oh.
One of the things I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk recently, and one of the things that he said was just focus on building your kids' confidence. And I know that a lot of my struggles in life with girls, with marital issues, with everything, my children, like all of it is revolved around my own insecurities and my own lack of self-confidence in certain areas. And so I try really hard to let my boys know every day, like, hey, I love you. And I want to build up their confidence as much as I can without being like over the top. I want them to understand that like life is not easy either. Like I want them to have to work for stuff and respect stuff and not be entitled.
Yeah.
But my point is, I'm nervous because I see what's going on in social media. I feel like back in the day we had like, X-rated magazines, and maybe if we were lucky, we found a video somewhere. But like now, the stuff that's available out there and the stuff that's in like men's faces and young boys can find, like I was on like the internet the other day and my boys are there and like this ad pops up for some like porn site. And I'm like, man, like this stuff is like constant. Like, and my oldest, he's 10 and he's starting to get it, and like, I mean, I'm the world I feel like is a bit messed up. And again, like going back to the whole purpose of all of this is really to like, is create a safe place for men to be able to say like, yeah, I fucked up at some point. And these are the tools that I'm using. And I'm not afraid to admit that I had a life coach or that I got therapy or that I wasn't always the strongest, that I wasn't always my best. Cause I feel like we're always, men, we want to be the biggest and strongest and all these things. Cause that's what at least our generation, I feel like is pushed to always be that, so again, I appreciate you sharing your story and your challenges. For me, I think that's kind of, how I'm working through it.
Yeah.
And being able to share your story with, people listening, I think is great. It's a great opportunity for them to know, hey, there's this incredible guy that's on YouTube that's doing this cool stuff, and he's training and traveling and influencing people, and he's a dad, and he's got all these cool things going on, and being able to say like, hey, you weren't perfect either, but you're willing to face those things and work through them, which is great.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, I again, like I said, I appreciate you coming on. I hope that that we can do more
100%.
of this type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to see where you're at right now. And I know that you're with Blue Star Nutraceuticals, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I can see it. It looks like they're taking care of you.
They're doing good, man. It's good. It's good combo, man. I like them.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the stuff that you're doing with your daughter. The stuff at least I can see on social media.
I'm debating doing more.
Yeah. Dude, man, I think people, especially again, like dads and men, like sharing that stuff and being real. I think I think we need to do more of it, like online, on social media, on whatever. There's always, there's these men that are giving relationship advice, but they're giving a relationship to women. I'm like, dude, like you're like selling your man card out. Like, let's help our own, like, that's my point. But but yeah, definitely do it. Is there anything, I guess, just to leave it with you, is there anything that you want people to hear or to know, or advice that you would give as Jonni SHREVE? Is there one thing that you feel like you want to share out of this?
One thing.
Anything you want to share?
I would say find value invest in yourself. You know, it's and it's not being selfish. Like, invest in yourself means, like, you know, if you can be the best version of you, that means you can be the best father. You can be the best brother, son, you know, friend, you know, coach, whatever it is. You can't operate at your highest if you don't put the time and investment in you. The only person in your life that you have complete and utter control over. You know, like, just invest in yourself, and honestly, I promise you, like, it'll pay back tenfold. And that's a fact. I promise you that. That's all I gotta say.
Dude, like I said, man, I appreciate you very much. I consider you a friend. I consider you a mentor in many ways. And again, I appreciate you being on board here. I appreciate you, you know, supporting this. And again, I hope we can do more
Let's do
dialogue.
it.
So
Let's
all
do
right,
it. Appreciate it.
enjoy the rest of your day.
How you too, brother.
Take care, man.
Bye.
Peace. Well, thank you guys very much for tuning in to episode 2 with Jonni SHREVE. And again, very appreciative for you listening in. This is David Whalen signing off for Raising Men.